Hey guys, this is Professor Tarup Parmar here. Let's continue our discussion for the subject ASP.NET with C Sharp. So this particular notes is specially developed for TYBSc Semester 5 2017-18 student Mumbai University. In last lecture we are already done discussing many topics, like in last lecture we already done discussing this particular question. This is the question which we discussed in last particular part. Now in this lecture we'll continue our discussion with this particular question, that is what is namespace, how to create namespace and its alias. Let's start discussing now what we mean by namespace. Remember in Java we have packages. Now package, or when we say packages, that should be imported whenever we write any program in Java. So packages means collection of classes which helps us for simplifying our development. So we don't need to code much, we can just directly inherit those classes which are present on those packages. The same way in C Sharp we have namespace. Now this namespace is also collection of classes, or you can say similar type of classes. So whenever we develop or whenever we try to write some code in C Sharp, so instead of writing the whole code ourselves, what we do, we basically use some of the other namespace and we basically inherit classes which are present on those namespaces. So as you can see, a namespace designed for providing a way to keep one set of names separate from another. The class names declared in one namespace does not conflict with same class name declared in another namespace. Remember one of the most important part, as you can see, this is the syntax. How to create a namespace? We just need to type namespace, then we just need to write the name. Any customized name is allowed. So let's have a look at the example. As you can see, one program is given here. Now based on our previous discussion, we already know that there is one of the most important namespace which is called as system. We always need to use this particular namespace, and now we have created our own namespace, that is using a keyword, that is namespace, and our name which we have allotted to this namespace is first space. Then we have created one class here. Class is namespace class CL. Now as you can see, we also created second namespace here with the same class name. Remember, we can use same class name in multiple different namespaces. What is namespace? Collection of similar type of classes, collection of classes. Now the way, like in Windows, we can create two files with the same name, but it should be there in different folders. So I have one folder, that is TYBSc semester 5. Under that I can have ABC file with the name ABC. The same way in a second folder I have like TYBSc semester 6. There also I can have ABC, a file name with ABC. So that means there should be two different folders, and on those two different folders we can create same type of a file. The same way here also we have this two different namespaces, and under those two different namespaces we can create class with the same name. Remember, if we try to create same class name, or if we try to allot same name to two different classes, and if both these classes present in one namespace only, then that is not allowed. So यहाँ पे what we have done is we have created one namespace and there we have allotted this particular name, and the same way here we have second namespace and under that we have created same class. But as you can see, class name is same, but both this class are present in two different namespace, and hence this particular concept is allowed. So first namespace, there we have one class present in that, and under that we have one function, that is console.writeLine. This is inside first namespace. You can write any message, and as we know, console, this is one class under which we basically use writeLine method to whenever we need to print any message on console. What we mean by console? Console means an output screen which we basically find during executing C or C++ programs, where you do not find any GUI. The screen looks like a command prompt. So that's what we mean by console. So if you want to print something on console, then we need to write this particular syntax, that is console.writeLine, and after that in double quotes you can write your own message. So as you can see, we have defined second namespace. Under that we have defined one class, and under that again we have defined one function. So name of function is func, and data type of this function is void. When we don't know the actual return value, I mean what this function is actually going to return, the result, end result is not known to us, that time we write void here. And then same way we have written one print statement, that is console.writeLine, and this particular message is printed on output screen. Now finally we have written one main class. So as you can see, our class and name of classes test classes. Under that we have created a main method. Now remember, in C sharp, in Java we write public static void main. In C sharp we write static void main, where M is capital. As you can see, M is capital. Rest all statement we write exactly similar to Java only. Then we have, first we need to call namespace, then class name which is present in that particular namespace. So our first namespace is, as you can see, first space. Under that we have namespace underscore CL. So as you can see, first space dot namespace CL FC. This is the object of this particular class. So this is how we basically declare objects in C sharp. Then new word, basically it helps to assign memory for this particular object. Then same way, namespace, name of the namespace, and under that class name, and finally brackets open and close. Same way we have created object for second class, and then with the help of this object we can call function which are present on those particular class. I hope this particular point is clear. As you can see, we have used some words here. So why we using keyword, I have specified explanation for the same. Using keyword states that program is using names in given namespaces. For example, we are using, by default we are using system namespace, and then we use basically console.writeLine. This console is a class under which we have one write method present, and which basically helps us to print any particular message on a screen. The same way we can also we can use any particular part. So if we don't write this particular line, as you can see we have written one line, that is using then system. So if we don't write this particular line in the beginning, then if you want to print something on a screen, then you have to write system.console.writeLine, that is namespace dot class name dot method name. But we have already written one line that is using namespace, so now we don't need to write that system here, because we are already using that particular namespace. We have already defined that particular namespace at the beginning of our program, and hence we just need to write console.writeLine. I hope this particular point is clear. Now, how to specify an alias? What do we mean by alias? When we have a very big name for any particular namespace, then instead of writing or instead of remembering the whole name, what we do, we specify a shorter name for that particular namespace and class. So as you can see, we have one namespace, and under that we have one class which we always use in most of all the programs. So we have one namespace, that is system. Under system we have one class, that is console. So now instead of remembering the whole this word, what we are going to do, we have assigned one short name to this. And what is the short name? That is A. So now instead of writing system.console, what I should write? A.writeLine. So as you can see, class, we have created one class, under that we have main method. Now instead of writing console.writeLine, what we need to write? A.write. Now remember, we have two methods present under console class. One is writeLine, second is write method. Now writeLine method kya karega? It basically, whenever you suppose if you have given a statement like enter a number, so after printing that particular statement on a screen, pointer goes to next line, and whatever you type now, everything is printed on next line. वो same message के सामने print नहीं होगा. And when we use console.write, so if I write a message console.write enter a number, तो at the end of that statement only हम लोग का pointer जो है वो blank होगा. So whatever you enter after a message, it gets printed on the same line. And when we use writeLine, means क्या होगा? Your message is printed and pointer comes to next line, and whatever you enter or try to enter, everything is comes on second line. I hope this particular point is clear. Except this particular two differences, there is no difference between write line and write method of console class. So both this method we use to print something on a screen, output screen only. So as you can see, we have used alias. So instead of writing system.console, we have used a name, a short name for this particular for this particular namespace and class. And then you can just write a.write and whatever your message is. And finally, we are using read key. Now remember, under console class only, we have two things, that is read line and read key. Both this function we basically use to hold the output on a screen. Like in C++, we use getCH to hold the output screen. The same way in C# as well, to hold the output screen, we use read key or read line. Anyone? I hope the previous question is clear to you. Now remember, if you have any doubt or query, you can just write your query in comment section. And second thing that I have provided link to download this particular notes in video description section. So from there you can download notes for this particular subject as well as for other subject too. Now next question which we need to discuss is explain data types of C#, primitive and non-primitive data types. Now remember, most of time you will find one or the other question which is based on this particular question. So in detail we are going to discuss both this question, and answer for both this question is almost similar. Only while writing primitive and non-primitive, we just need to add few extra points to this particular answer. So let's start discussing what are the data types. As you can see, data types in C# basically divided in three parts. First क्या है? Value type. Second is reference type है, and third is pointer type. What we mean by value type? If I directly assign value to any particular variable while declaring that variable, that is called as value type. Means directly assigning some value to variable, that is value type. Let's see. As you can see, value type variable can be assigned a value directly. That's what we mean by value type. They are derived from class. Which class they are derived from? System.valueType. Remember, we under system namespace we have one class, that is value type. Then value type directly contains data. Obviously, for example, you can say int I equal to 10. So this is the example of value type, where we have created one variable, that is I, and we are assigning value 10 to this particular variable. Now some example, as you can see, we have many predefined data types like int, char, float. If we are using any particular type of this data types to define our variable, and then we can assign some value to those particular variables. So that's what we mean by value types. To get the exact size, now as we know, all the data types which are present in our system, they basically occupies different space. For example, short int occupies some less space, int occupies more space, and long int can store or can occupy even more space. So if you want to store small number, we use short int. If you want to store some medium size number, then we use integer. And if you want to store long number, then we need to use long. The same way, if you want to store a string value, alphabets and numeric value together, then we use string data types. So whatever data types we are using while defining our variables, if you want to know how much memory they basically stores or how much memory they are going to reserve to store our data, suppose in my program I have written like int I. Now मुझे check करना है कि I variable occupies how much memory. So for that reason we can directly use one expression, that is size of, in bracket we just need to write which data type size we are demanding for. So suppose अगर मुझे integer का size और integer का actual value identify करना है, then what I'm going to write? Size of int, and it basically returns a value. For example, for integer it consumes or it reserves 4 bytes of space under which we can store our number. And if your number size is more than 4 bytes, तो क्या होगा? Overflow होगा, and then we need to change data type of that particular variable. I hope this particular point is clear. So what is value type? Value type is where we directly assign value to our variables. Examples क्या होंगे? Int, char, float, and many other. Let's have a look at example program. As you can see, first line क्या होगा? Always remains constant, that we are going to use one namespace जिसका नाम क्या है? System. Then we have given namespace to our first particular namespace, and what is the name for our namespace? That is data type application. Then we have defined class here, then main, and then what we are writing, console.writeLine size of int. Now remember, here we have defined arguments. So arguments कैसे store होगा? In index value we have this array present, and array starts from 0th index value. So यहाँ पे जो first index value है वहाँ पे we are going to hold result which is written by this particular method. So size of जो है, it's a function which basically returns a value or size for integer variable. तो integer variable का integer variable जो है, how much space it basically consumes or stores, वो जो भी है integer के लिए कितना space operating system पे reserve होता है, that basically provided by, or we can fetch that particular information using size of method. And ये जो भी result ये particular function return करेगा, that particular result is basically holded at 0th location, and that value we are going to print here. So as you can see, we have written 0th argument and then console.readline to hold the output screen. That's it, nothing more. So this is the output provided by this particular program. I hope this particular point is clear. So first data type is value type. Now I have given some data types as well and some basic information. You don't need to memorize everything, just try to read at least once, so that we should know at least if we are using any particular programming language, so how many data types basically present in that particular language and what is the purpose of those particular data types. We should have at least basic knowledge about it. And as I said that we are going to use 2010 version of Visual Studio. तो यहाँ पे जो भी list of table I have provided here, this is specific to 2010 only. For 2012 and advanced version of Visual Studio, you will find list of new variables also added in this particular list of new data types added in this particular list. So just have a look at once. We don't need to memorize anything out of this. Now second type is reference type. Now as the name suggests, नाम पे से पता चल रहा है, reference type means instead of directly storing a value, we are going to provide reference to that particular value. So value type में क्या होता है, int I equal to 10. That means 10 is our value which we are directly assigning to a variable that is I, which is of which type, integer type. Now in this particular data type, that is reference type, directly assigning a value, हम लोग क्या करेंगे, instead of assigning or storing value to our variable, we basically store memory location. So directly value store नहीं करेंगे, we basically specify memory location जहाँ पे data stored है. So the reference type do not contain actual data stored in variable, but they contain reference type to variable. Reference type means they basically contains value. So memory location. So as you can see, they refer to memory location. So जहाँ पे भी हम लोग का data stored है, it basically specifies address of that particular place. So instead of directly storing someone's value, we are storing memory location where their data is stored. I hope this particular point is clear. In value type, we directly assign value to our variables. In reference type, instead of directly storing value, we basically store memory location where their data or value is stored. If the data is in the memory location is changed by one or other variable, the other variable automatically reflects this change in value. Now अगर हम लोगों ने वो डेटा को एक मेमोरी लोकेशन से दूसरे मेमोरी लोकेशन पे शिफ्ट कर दिया है, तो उसका मेमोरी लोकेशन चेंज हो गया, मीन्स रेफरेंस जो है दैट शुड ऑल्सो बी चेंज, एड्रेस इज ऑल्सो चेंज. नाउ सेम इज रिफ्लेक्टेड हियर एज वेल. नाउ रिमेंबर वन थिंग, ये रेफरेंस टाइप जो है इज अगेन गेट्स डिवाइडेड इन 3 सब टाइप्स. वन इज ऑब्जेक्ट टाइप, सेकेंड इज डायनेमिक टाइप एंड थर्ड इज स्ट्रिंग टाइप. And in reference type, we also have other data types, that is user defined. और user defined data types या reference types कौन से होते हैं? Class, interface, delegates, enumeration. This all comes under user defined reference types. So as you can see, user defined reference type कौन सा है? Class, interface and delegates. Now we'll discuss 3 subtypes of reference type. First is object type, second is dynamic type and third is string type. Let's start discussing object type. So object type में क्या होगा? As you can see, is ultimate base class for all types. So जितने भी common types of system, CTS system, as you can see, class for all data types in C#. जितने भी C# में data types provided है, we have one common ultimate base class present in our system that is called as object type. So we don't need to specify. If you want, if let's take an example. If you want to store integer type of a data, हम लोग को वहाँ पे specify करता है int I. If you want to store some alphabets, or if you want to store some message, so we need to define value like string or something. So as you can see, object is an alias from for system.object class. यहाँ पे जितने भी हम लोगों के C# में डेटा टाइप्स प्रेजेंट है, all are present in this particular type. So this is an ultimate base class for all data types which are present in C#, और जिसको हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं, common type system, CTS. We have one common type system present that is called as object type, and it can store any type. It can store any type of data. जितने भी डेटा टाइप C# सपोर्ट करता है वो सबके लिए we have created one common type that is object type. So हम लोगों को हर एक वेरिएबल के साथ we don't need to write int, string, char, float or something. You can just directly write object. That's it. So object type, it's an alias. किसके लिए alias है वो? Alias means क्या? Short name हम लोग provide कर देते हैं. So instead of writing system.object, the whole this word what we have written, we have provided a short name to this, और वो short name क्या है? Object only. अभी ये इतना short name हम लोगों ने object क्यों दिया है? So that there should not be any confusion. अगर हम लोग ऐसा short name नहीं देंगे, then there might be a confusion, right? कि ये particular alias किसके लिए? So that's why whenever we specify alias और short name देंगे कोई particular namespace और उसके अंदर present class को give some namespace some alias which should be similar, और जिस जो names जो alias या नाम पढ़ के हम लोग को समझ में आना चाहिए what is the purpose of this particular alias or short name. Now object type can be assigned value of any other type. Object type के अंदर हम लोग कोई भी data type के values जो है we can assign. For example, value types means we can directly assign a value, or reference type, that is we can assign, or we can instead of directly storing value हम लोग कोई वेरिएबल का रेफरेंस भी और मेमोरी लोकेशन भी स्टोर कर सकते हैं. व्हाट वी डिस्कस्ड इन रेफरेंस टाइप. और प्रीडिफाइंड और यूजर डिफाइंड डेटा टाइप्स भी हो सकते हैं. प्रीडिफाइंड मींस इंट, कैर, फ्लोट, दिस ऑल आर प्रीडिफाइंड डेटा टाइप्स, राइट. एंड यूजर डिफाइंड कौन से होते हैं? जैसे क्लास, एरे डिफाइन करते हैं हम लोग, एन्यूमरेशन बनाते हैं, स्ट्रक्चर बनाते हैं. दिस आर कॉल्ड एज यूजर डिफाइंड डेटा टाइप. तो ऑब्जेक्ट टाइप के अंदर वैल्यू टाइप भी आएगा, रेफरेंस टाइप भी आएगा, और यूजर डिफाइंड डेटा टाइप्स कैन ऑल्सो कम्स हियर. Now, before assigning value, it needs type conversion. Now, whenever we assign value to object type, तो हम लोगों को पहले type conversion करना पड़ेगा. Type conversion means क्या होता है? Converting one data type into another type. So, when a value type is converted to object type, now it is very important. Value type क्या होता है? हम लोगों ने एक variable बनाया integer type का. For example, int I equal to 10. So, यहाँ पे हम लोगों ने क्या किया? We have directly assigned value to our variable I, and its data type is integer. Now whenever we want to store any particular value, or whenever we want to create object type का अगर ऐसा कुछ यूज करना है, object data type अगर यूज करना है, तो क्या करना पड़ेगा? First we need to convert value type into object type. That is called as boxing. Remember, converting value type to object type. And object type किसका सब टाइप है? reference type का. Remember, object type किसके अंदर आता है? Comes under reference type. So you can directly say converting value type to object type, or converting value type to reference type. इसको हम लोग बोलते हैं boxing. Remember, converting value type to reference type or converting value type to object type. Object type भी लिख सकते हैं, और specifically in general you can write reference type as well. क्यों? Because reference type के अंदर ही object type आता है, right? So this is what we mean by boxing. Boxing means क्या? Instead of directly storing value, means instead of directly keeping something out, मैंने क्या किया है? उसको कोई अंदर दूसरे बॉक्स में स्टोर किया है. So instead of directly keeping mobile on table, what I have done, वो मोबाइल को मैंने एक बॉक्स में या कोई एक पर्टिकुलर पॉकेट में स्टोर करके एक जगह पे रख दिया है. तो मैंने क्या किया? उसको बॉक्स किया है. So instead of directly storing value, directly keeping value, हम लोगों ने क्या किया? उसको एक कोई सेफ स्पेस पे बॉक्स के अंदर रख दिया, पैक करके. So here is also value type को हम लोगों ने किस में डाल दिया? Object type, reference type में. So this is called boxing. और other hand, जब भी हम लोग इसका अपोजिट करेंगे, means reference type से अगर हम लोग value type पे लेके आ रहे हैं, vice versa, या object type से हम लोग value type पे ला रहे हैं, that is called as unboxing. Means मैंने एक मोबाइल को पैक करके प्रॉपरली एक लोकेशन पे रख दिया, दैट इज बॉक्सिंग, और अगर मैं वो बॉक्स को ओपन करके वापस अपना वैल्यू वहां से बाहर निकाल रहा हूं, दैट इज अनबॉक्सिंग. आई होप दिस पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट इज क्लियर. सो इन डेफिनेशन हाउ वी कैन रिमेंबर, वैल्यू टाइप से रेफरेंस टाइप में कन्वर्टिंग समथिंग इज कॉल्ड एज बॉक्सिंग, एंड रेफरेंस टाइप से वैल्यू टाइप में अगर वापस लाते हैं किस चीज को, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज अनबॉक्सिंग. In our other questions in the same notes you will find questions specifically on boxing unboxing. और ये टाइम का जो KT एग्जाम था, that is April 2017 एग्जाम, in that exam also boxing unboxing के ऊपर क्वेश्चन आया है. And in our future part, in future discussion, we are going to discuss that particular question as well. So don't worry, for now just remember, converting something value to reference type is called boxing, and vice versa, or reference to value type is called unboxing. So here just one example, object type हम लोगों ने define किया और उसके अंदर एक value store कर दिया, that's boxing. Dynamic type. Now dynamic type क्या होता है? You can store any type of value in dynamic type. तो हम लोग कोई भी टाइप का नंबर भी स्टोर कर सकते हैं, I mean whole number, integer value, float, double value, string value, characters, special character. You can store any type of data, it will accept it. इसको हम लोग dynamic type बोलते हैं, that's it. And second important thing, they checking for this types of variables. अभी suppose as you can see we have declared one dynamic type here. Dynamic एक variable दे दिया और उसको नाम क्या दिया, d, and we have stored integer value. As you can see integer value है ये. अभी we have defined one variable और जिसका data type क्या है, dynamic है, और उसके अंदर we have stored one value. अभी ये जो value है ये कौन सा टाइप का है, ये कभी पता करेगा ये dynamic type at runtime. As you can see, the type checking for this type of variable takes place at runtime. जब भी हम लोगों का प्रोग्राम रन होगा, that time ये basically चेक करेगा. एंड ऑब्जेक्ट टाइप में कौन से टाइप का डेटा हम लोगों ने स्टोर किया है ये बेसिकली कभी पता चलेगा, एट कंपाइल टाइम. सो कंपाइल टाइम में ऑब्जेक्ट टाइप के अंदर क्या डेटा हम लोगों ने स्टोर किया है, वेदर इट इज इंटीजर, कैरेक्टर, फ्लोट, डबल, स्ट्रिंग, कौन से टाइप का डेटा हम लोगों ने स्टोर किया है ये कंपाइल टाइम पे प्रोग्राम चेक करेगा. एंड डायनेमिक में हम लोगों ने कौन से टाइप का वैल्यू ऐड किया है ये प्रोग्राम कभी चेक करेगा, एट रन टाइम, और उसके हिसाब से खुद को वो मॉडिफाई करेगा, उसके हिसाब से खुद के लिए स्पेस बनाएगा. So dynamic types are similar to object type except that they checking for object type variable takes place at compile time. Object type में कौन से टाइप का डेटा हम लोगों ने स्टोर किया है ये कभी पता चलेगा कंपाइल टाइम पे, राइट. कंपाइल टाइम क्या होता है, व्हेन वी कंपाइल, व्हेन वी चेक फॉर सिंटैक्टिकल एरर, वो कंपाइल टाइम होता है. And whereas for dynamic type variable takes place at runtime. I hope this particular point is clear. And here I have provided example how to create dynamic type of a variable and how to assign value to this. Now next type is string type. So string type के अंदर we can directly add string values to this particular type of a variable. So as you can see, string type allows you to assign any value, any string value to a variable. That's it. I have given example also. बहुत simple है. I hope this is very clear. It is derived from, कहाँ से derived हो रहा है वो, object type में से. And कहाँ पे present है वो, system namespace के अंदर we have one class present जिसका नाम है string. Example, very simple. Now let's discuss about next data type, that is pointer. So हम लोगों ने value type discuss किया. Value type क्या था, where we directly assign value to our variables. Then we discussed about reference type. Reference type में instead of directly assigning value to our variable, हम लोग क्या करते हैं, हम लोग वहां पे मेमोरी लोकेशन स्टोर करते हैं. नाउ व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट रेफरेंस टाइप, उसके अंदर 3 सब टाइप्स होते हैं. ऑब्जेक्ट टाइप के अंदर हम लोग डायरेक्टली कुछ वैल्यू असाइन कर सकते हैं, या फिर हम लोग वैल्यू टाइप वेरिएबल्स को रेफरेंस टाइप में कन्वर्ट करते हैं, जिसको बॉक्सिंग भी बोलते हैं. हम लोगों ने ऑलरेडी डिस्कस किया. एंड रेफरेंस टाइप से वैल्यू टाइप में कन्वर्जन को हम लोग अनबॉक्सिंग बोलते हैं. सो ऑब्जेक्ट टाइप, उसमें जो भी वैल्यू हम लोगों ने स्टोर किया है, दैट वैल्यू इज ऑफ विच टाइप, ये कभी पता करेगा, वो टाइप चेकिंग कभी होगा, एट कंपाइल टाइम. रिमेंबर. नाउ रेफरेंस के अंदर ही सेकेंड सब टाइप जो है दैट इज डायनेमिक टाइप. देयर ऑल्सो वी कैन डायरेक्टली असाइन एनी टाइप ऑफ वैल्यू टू डायनेमिक डेटा टाइप को हम लोग कोई भी टाइप का वैल्यू असाइन कर सकते हैं. नाउ विच टाइप ऑफ वैल्यू वी हैव असाइन टू अ वेरिएबल जिसका डेटा टाइप डायनेमिक है, ये सिस्टम कभी चेक करेगा व्हाइल इट रन्स दैट पर्टिकुलर प्रोग्राम. सो टाइप चेकिंग कभी होगा, रन टाइम पे. आई होप इट इज क्लियर. एंड थर्ड सब टाइप रेफरेंस टाइप के अंदर वो कौन सा था, स्ट्रिंग टाइप, वेयर वी कैन असाइन एनी पर्टिकुलर टाइप ऑफ अ स्ट्रिंग टू आवर वेरिएबल. वेरी सिंपल. एंड अभी डेटा टाइप के अंदर फर्स्ट वैल्यू टाइप हो गया, रेफरेंस टाइप हो गया, उसके अंदर 3 सब टाइप, ऑब्जेक्ट, रेफरेंस एंड स्ट्रिंग. एंड नाउ थर्ड टाइप ऑफ डेटा टाइप इज pointer type. Now इसका concept बहुत similar है, like we have concept of pointer in C and C++. The exact same concept is applied here as well. So as you can see, pointer type variable stores memory address of another type. So हम लोगों ने कोई एक pointer create करेंगे. Pointer means क्या? Which basically points to some particular place or some particular memory location where our data is stored. That's it. Nothing more we need to remember for this particular part. Just remember, we are creating a pointer which basically points to any particular place where our data is stored. That's it. I hope you can now just you can take a look at this particular example and you can easily read out this particular points. Now ऊपर क्वेश्चन हम लोगों ने दो देखे थे. वन इज व्हाट आर द डेटा टाइप्स इन सी शार्प एंड सेकंड क्या था? प्रिमिटिव एंड नॉन प्रिमिटिव डेटा टाइप. नाउ रिमेंबर, प्रिमिटिव एंड नॉन प्रिमिटिव. प्रिमिटिव मींस प्री डिफाइंड, जो सिस्टम या वो पर्टिकुलर लैंग्वेज आपको ऑलरेडी देता है. फॉर एग्जांपल इंट, कैर, फ्लोट, दिस इज बेसिकली डिफाइंड, प्री डिफाइंड डेटा टाइप्स है ये. सो दोज आर कॉल्ड एज प्रिमिटिव टाइप्स. एंड नॉन प्रिमिटिव टाइप क्या होता है? यूजर डिफाइंड मींस क्लास, एरे डिफाइन करना, स्ट्रक्चर डिफाइन करना, एन्यूमरेशन डिफाइन करना इज कॉल्ड एज यूजर डिफाइंड डेटा टाइप. तो सी शार्प के अंदर अगर मेनली हम लोग बात करें तो दो टाइप के डेटा टाइप्स होते हैं, यूजर डिफाइंड एंड सिस्टम डिफाइंड और प्री डिफाइंड. प्री डिफाइंड या सिस्टम डिफाइंड वेरिएबल्स को, डेटा टाइप्स को हम लोग बोलते हैं प्रिमिटिव, एंड यूजर डिफाइंड को वी कॉल इट नॉन प्रिमिटिव. सो लेट्स डिस्कस प्रिमिटिव और प्री डिफाइंड. आई हैव गिवन वन एग्जांपल हियर. एज यू कैन सी, एग्जांपल्स कौन से रहेंगे प्रिमिटिव के? वी हैव एग्जांपल्स लाइक बाइट, शॉर्ट, इंट, फ्लोट, डबल, लॉन्ग, कैर. जितने भी हम लोग एवरी टाइम व्हेनेवर वी ट्राई टू क्रिएट एन ऑब्जेक्ट, और वो टाइम पे जो भी हम लोग यूज करते हैं उसको क्या बोलते हैं? प्री डिफाइंड. इंट, फ्लोट, डबल, ये हम लोग ऑलरेडी सिस्टम ने वो पर्टिकुलर लैंग्वेज ने दे हैव प्रोवाइडेड टू यू. नाउ सी शार्प रिप्रेजेंट्स ऑल प्रिमिटिव टाइप्स एज ऑब्जेक्ट टाइप. रिमेंबर, ऑब्जेक्ट टाइप के अंदर सारे आ जाएंगे. इट इज पॉसिबल टू कॉल एन ऑब्जेक्ट मेथड ऑन अ प्रिमिटिव डेटा टाइप्स. एक एग्जाम्पल दिया है, we have created main method, उसके अंदर now we have created or defined one variable that is I variable, data type क्या उसका? int, and we are assigning value 10 using assignment operator. Assignment operator क्या है यहाँ पे? equal to sign. So using this assignment operator we have assigned value to variable I. और अभी हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं? ये I variable कहाँ पे stored है, उसका मेमोरी लोकेशन क्या है, ये हम लोग कहाँ पे स्टोर कर रहे हैं? ऑब्जेक्ट डेटा टाइप से हम लोगों ने एक वेरिएबल डिफाइन किया है, दैट इज ओ. उसके अंदर हम लोग आई वाला जो वेरिएबल है उसका मेमोरी लोकेशन स्टोर कर रहे हैं. एंड देन यहाँ पे व्हाट वी आर राइटिंग, system.console.write line to string. तो हम लोगों ने यहाँ पे ये जो वैल्यू स्टोर किया था इंटीजर टाइप का, उसको हम लोगों ने कन्वर्ट कर दिया स्ट्रिंग टाइप में यूजिंग टू स्ट्रिंग टाइप कन्वर्जन, और टाइप कास्टिंग बोलते हैं. रिमेंबर, type casting means converting one type of a data into another type. So as you can see here, we have converted integer data into string format. That's what we mean by type conversion. And this is the example for system defined. Now let's take an example. Second type जो हम लोग को discuss करना है वो क्या है? non primitive और user defined. So user defined के अंदर बहुत सारे आते हैं patterns. So let's discuss. First is, as you can see, we have many present here. Let's take a look. Just a second. हाँ. So let's take an examples. कौन से रहेंगे उसके? Class, structure, enumeration, interface, delegates, array. Whenever we create such things, उसको बोलते हैं user defined data types. Now enumeration और enum are used to group named constants. कोई एक नेम कांस्टेंट जब भी हम लोग को बनाने होते हैं, जैसे पाई है, पाई का वैल्यू 3.14, दैट्स कांस्टेंट. सो हाउ दे यूज्ड इन सी एंड सी प्लस प्लस, द सेम वे वी कैन आल्सो डिफाइन कांस्टेंट नेम्स हियर एज वेल. सो एज यू कैन सी, सी शार्प के अंदर इन्यूम्स आर वैल्यू टाइप्स. रिमेंबर, वैल्यू टाइप्स है. इनम क्या है? एन्यूमरेशन. जब भी हम लोग एन्यूमरेशन क्रिएट करते हैं इस वैल्यू टाइप मींस हम लोग डायरेक्टली वैल्यू असाइन कर सकते हैं. कांस्टेंट रहेगा. एक बार आपने जो भी वैल्यू असाइन कर दिया उसके बाद उसका वैल्यू, वो पर्टिकुलर वेरिएबल का वैल्यू चेंज नहीं होगा. दैट्स व्हाट वी मीन बाय कांस्टेंट. सो इनम कांस्टेंट्स में भी इंटीग्रल न्यूमेरिक वैल्यू. तो ये इनम के अंदर में भी कौन से टाइप के वैल्यूज हम लोग डायरेक्टली स्टोर कर सकते हैं? कांस्टेंट वैल्यू, न्यूमेरिक टाइप के, इंटीजर. Now, toString method can use to print out string representation of name constant. और toString के थ्रू हम लोग वो पर्टिकुलर वैल्यूज को स्ट्रिंग में कन्वर्ट करके उसको प्रिंट कर सकते हैं, सो दैट वी कैन इजीली गेट कि वो पर्टिकुलर जो वेरिएबल्स हम लोगों ने या ग्रुप जो हम लोगों ने थोड़े बहुत कंबाइन किए एन्यूमरेशन के अंदर, उसके अंदर क्या वैल्यू है. नाउ लेट्स टेक एन एग्जांपल हाउ टू डिफाइन एन्यूमरेशन, एज यू कैन सी पब्लिक enum, और हम लोगों ने एक enumeration define किया using a keyword enum, और उसके बाद we have provided name to this particular enumeration, that is color, and then we have assigned some colors here, green, orange, red and blue, and now इसको हम लोगों ने कोई भी वैल्यू असाइन नहीं किया है. सो सीक्वेंस वाइज अगर जाए, कंप्यूटर जो है वो काउंटिंग या जो पर्टिकुलर वैल्यू असाइनमेंट है वो कहां से स्टार्ट करता है, फ्रॉम जीरो. सो दिस आर द सैंपल कलर्स. डिफॉल्ट वैल्यू ग्रीन के लिए क्या हो गया, अभी सीक्वेंस में जाएंगे तो डिफॉल्ट वैल्यू फॉर ग्रीन, counting starts from 0. So for 0 we have a number or a value that is green. For 1 we have value orange. For 2 we have value red. And 3 किसके लिए है, blue के लिए. And now अगर हम लोगों को ये particular sequence में colors को numbers assign नहीं करने, then we can also go for this particular second enumeration type where we have assigned value or number 10 to green. तो 10 का मतलब क्या हो गया, green color. Then 20 का मतलब orange color, 30 means red color, 40 means blue color. I hope it is very clear to you. This is how we basically define enumeration, and उसके अंदर we have combined some set of groups or variables. So that's what we mean by user defined data types. Now remember, agar if question comes in exam like what is primitive and non primitive data type, तो यहाँ पे 2 points which we discuss right now वो आपको लिखना है, एंड रेस्ट ऑल अदर जो भी है मैंने ऊपर जो क्वेश्चन दिया है वो बाकी सिमिलर रहेगा. I hope you can easily frame your question now based on this particular knowledge. And if you don't remember anything, तो यहाँ पे ये this is the diagram given here. Try to remember at least something. Now, this particular question is very important. This is also appeared in April 2017, last KT exam जो गया for semester 5. There also university asked this particular question. So this becomes very important. So in next particular lecture, I'll be starting with this particular question. I hope whatever we discussed till now is very clear to you. I'm trying my level best to make things very simple for you so that you can score good marks in your exam. All the best. Stay tuned. Keep preparing for yourself. And thank you. Bye bye.